Chapter 4 of Amelia Bedelia Unleashed. Chapter 4 A Walk in the Park. The next afternoon, Amelia Bedelia met Diana in the park. Just as they had planned, Diana had her dog Buster with her, but she was also surrounded by 9 other dogs in all shapes and sizes and colors. Hi, Amelia Bedelia. Did you bring any of your famous lemon tarts along with you? Asked Diana. Amelia Bedelia shook her head. Sorry, I forgot. I'm glad, said Diana. Those yummy tarts drive my dogs crazy. Amelia Bedelia began to scratch a dog behind its long, leathery ears. They were enormous, like an elephant's ears. That's a bloodhound. His name is Sherlock, said Diana. We can follow any trail just by tracking the scent. A scent, said Amelia Bedelia. Can he find more valuable stuff, like dimes and quarters and dollar bills? A bloodhound can follow a smell for miles, find whatever needs to be found, explained Diana. At that moment, all the dogs perked up their ears. Then they all turned their heads in the same direction. Amelia Bedelia and Diana looked too. Racing down the path was a magnificent poodle. Wow, said Diana. What a cutie. Are poodles your favorite dog? Asked Amelia Bedelia. That's a terrific poodle, said Diana. Do you know the boy walking it? Amelia Bedelia was so captivated by the dog that she hadn't noticed the boy at all. She looked back at him just as he and his dog came upon a group of skateboarders at the top of the hill. One of the skateboarders whistled loudly, while another bowed differently. A third yelled, Hey, dog boy, who's your girlfriend? Then they laughed, and then they rode in circles around the boy and his dog. Amelia Bedelia felt bad for him. The skateboarders went to her school. Tomorrow, she would tell them not to be mean to other people. I have a favor to ask, said Diana. Would you help me return these tired pups to their owners? They are your pals. They won't give you any trouble. Sure, said Amelia Bedelia. I can do that. Thanks, said Diana. I need to get home early. Tonight I'm going on my first blind date. Amelia Bedelia didn't know what to say, so she asked a question. Will you take his seeing eye dog for a walk? A curious look came over to Diana's face. Then she began to laugh. Oh, honey, she said, my date isn't blind. He can see. We've just never met before. We have friends in common, and they wanted us to meet since we both work with dogs. He has a dog grooming business, and he's a vet. Well, said Amelia Bedelia, if Buster ever gets sick, you could just take him to your blind date. Diana laughed even louder. No. He isn't a veterinarian. He is a veteran. He served in the military and worked with dogs. Then he went back to school and learned how to groom dogs. He loves them. Diana took the leashes of all 10 dogs and handed half of them to Amelia Bedelia. Here you go, she said. These 5 lived on Maple Street. They're very smart. They'll let you know which house is theirs. Thanks for trusting me, said Amelia Bedelia, and have fun tonight. Chapter 5 Crossing Leashes. As Amelia Bedelia headed out of the park toward Maple Street, she ran into the boy and his poodle. Just to be friendly, Amelia Bedelia said, Nice dog. Thanks, Thanks, said the boy. You've got a lot of nice dogs. Amelia Bedelia packed up dogs, strained. Here's the picture, meaning. Stringed at their leashes, dragging her over to the poodle. The dogs let out a little yips of greeting and approval while they were sniffing and snuffling one another. Soon their leashes were completely tangled up. They were wrapped every which way with Amelia Bedelia's legs. It looked like some dog maypole dance, with Amelia Bedelia playing part of the pole. I think if I try to move, I'll probably fall over, said Amelia Bedelia, swinging from side to side. Then don't move a muscle, said the boy. He let go of his leash, commanded his poodle to sit. It actually sat and began to untangle Amelia Bedelia. You must love dogs, he said. I do, said Amelia Bedelia, but these aren't mine. I'm helping a friend who walks dogs for business. I should hire a friend, said the boy. I love my dog, but I hate to walk him. Kids always make fun of me. I saw what happened, said Amelia Bedelia. I know those guys. Tomorrow at school, I'll tell them to stop it. No, don't do that, said the boy. Having a girl come to my rescue would be even worse. But I could help you, said Amelia Bedelia. Who are you? Said the boy. My name's Amelia Bedelia. As soon as she said it, she could tell the boy by the look on his face that he'd heard of her. His eyes lit up and he said, Hey, I remember you. You're on TV. You got in trouble because of your lemonade stand. I never said that, but probably in the other book, because this is book 2. That's me, said Amelia Bedelia. I'm Charlie, said the boy. What's your dog's name? Asked Amelia Bedelia. This is Pierre, said Charlie. Charlie motioned for Pierre to come over and sit in front of Amelia Bedelia. Pierre sat up straight and held out his right paw for her to shake. Amelia Bedelia laughed as she shook Pierre's paw. What a nice front paw shake, he said. Amelia Bedelia wasn't sure what to say next, so she asked a question. I've never seen such a big poodle. Is Pierre an economic size? He's a standard poodle, said Charlie. Gosh, said Amelia Bedelia, if Pierre is a standard poodle, what does a special poodle look like? Standard is just a size, said Charlie. It means that he's the biggest type of poodle. It's his fancy haircut that makes him look even more gigantic and kind of silly. That's when I get teased sometimes when I walk him. I have a great idea, said Amelia Bedelia. Meet me here tomorrow. I'll walk Pierre and you can walk these dogs. That way no one will tease you. Amelia Bedelia held out her hand. Charlie smiled as he took it, shook it, and said, It's a deal. See you tomorrow. Amelia Bedelia walked down Maple Street. The tiny terrier strained at his leash when he spotted a jogger running toward them. The boxer ran to a man hitting a punching bag in his garage. The bearded collie belonged to a man with a beard. The husky spotted her owner next. Last but not least was the sweet Maltese. Amelia Bedelia had a lot to think about. She walked home, she wondered about dogs and blind dates and Charlie and Pierre. Most importantly, she wondered what kind of dog was right for her. Chapter 6, Skates Up. The next afternoon, Amelia Bedelia's mother looked out of the kitchen window. Oh, she said, storm clouds coming. Looks like it's going to rain cats and dogs. I hope not, said Amelia Bedelia. I'd hate to have a Saint Bernard ball on my head. Besides, I have to meet Diana and Charlie in the park. Then take this umbrella, said her mother. Amelia Bedelia shook her head. This isn't big enough, she said. It couldn't save me from a falling chihuahua. Don't worry about that, said Amelia Bedelia's father. Even if it rains cats and dogs, you want the worst thing that can happen? Years of experience warned Amelia Bedelia not to ask, but she did anyway. Now, Dad, she said, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'm glad you asked, said her dad. If it rains cats and dogs, you might step into a poodle. Her father began to chuckle himself. Amelia Bedelia shuddered involuntarily at the thought of stepping into Pierre. That's the worst joke I've ever heard, she said. Her dad snorted and laughed really loudly. It was so embarrassing. Amelia Bedelia's mother rolled her eyes. I hope you realize, honey, she said, that no one enjoys their jokes more than you do. Amelia Bedelia arrived at the park on time, even though her mom made her drag along with a dumb umbrella. She waited for Diana at the bench where they always met. Charlie and Pierre arrived a few minutes later. Hey, said Charlie, where are the dogs? I'm not sure, said Amelia Bedelia. Diana's late. I'll call her later. I can still walk Pierre for you if you want me to. Okay, said Charlie. Amelia Bedelia took Pierre's leash and they began to walk. She told Charlie about her dad's step in a poodle joke. Charlie laughed, and this time she did too. Actually, said Charlie, your dad's right. A long time ago, poodles were trained as hunting dogs. They were retrievers. They splashed into ponds and through puddles. That's how they got their name. Amelia Bedelia could not wait to tell her dad that. Poodles, they poo indoors. Maybe her dad was smarter than even he thought he was. Up ahead, Amelia Bedelia saw the same bunch of skateboarders Charlie had run into yesterday. They were hanging out right up the long, steep hill. They were exactly where Amelia Bedelia, Charlie, and Perry were heading. The skateboarders remembered Pierre and Charlie. They started to laugh and hoot, and the tall one put his fingers to his mouth to whistle. But Amelia Bedelia didn't give him a chance. She did what she did best. She asked a question. How do you ride one of these things? She hopped onto the deck of his skateboard and wobbled back and forth. Whoa, she yelled, waving her arms for balance, with an umbrella in one hand and Pierre's leash in the other. It's super easy, said one of the guys. Just head downhill and move from side to side like riding a wave on a surfboard. Suddenly a squirrel bounded by hopping down his skateboard. Pierre took off after that squirrel like a rocket. The chase was on. Double woes, yelled Amelia Bedelia. She squatted down to keep her balance as Pierre pulled her behind him. Pierre may have looked slightly silly with his groomed and puffed coat, but under those fluffy pom-poms were strong, gripping muscles. He pulled Amelia Bedelia along with no trouble at all. The squirrel raced ahead. Pierre, barking happily, chased the squirrel, and zipping behind them was Amelia Bedelia. Stop, please stop, she hollered all the way down the hill. The long, steep sidewalk ended at a large circular fountain with a round pole that was deep enough for wading. In the center was a statue of a mermaid that spit water into the sky. The mermaid reminded Amelia Bedelia of her mom spitting out her water at the dinner table. Even though she was scared, Amelia Bedelia began to giggle. Then she stopped. Amelia Bedelia was going so fast she couldn't jump off. She wished her mom could help her now. If she fell, she'd be one giant scab. She wished she asked that skateboard another question. How do you stop? The squirrel zigzagged fiercely, but kept heading for the fountain, with Pyre hot on his trail and Amelia Bedelia holding on for dear life. She leaned forward, from side to side, twisting and turning to keep her balance. Amelia Bedelia heard shouting. She looked over her shoulder and saw Charlie, who was leading the pack of skateboarders who were cheering her on. "Look at her! She's climbing like expert! What a natural! She'll get hurt!" yelled Charlie. Just then the squirrel darted to the left. So did Pyre, yanking a leash out of Amelia Bedelia's hand. Now she was heading straight for the fountain. Amelia Bedelia leaned back. Pop went her umbrella as it opened behind her and began to slow her down. The front wheel of the skateboard jumped up onto the rim of the fountain. The spinning mermaid was the last thing Amelia saw before she shut her eyes. Charlie and the skateboarders saw the front end of the skateboard just cleared the edge of the fountain. Amelia Bedelia leaned forward toward the mermaids to catch her balance. Then she leaned backward as far as she could. She rode the rim of the fountain in a complete perfect circle. By the time she came around to where she had started, the skateboard had run out of steam. Amelia Bedelia jumped to the ground. The skateboarders and Charlie stood in stunned silence. Then they all let out a huge whoop and raced toward her. Charlie was the first to reach Amelia Bedelia. "Are you all right?" he asked. "I guess so." "Yep," she said. The skateboarders went wild. They hoisted Amelia Bedelia onto their shoulders and carried her around the fountain. "Yeah, amazing. What a set of moves. How do you do that? They just had a ride like that. Like, now." Amelia Bedelia laughed. "Okay, but maybe some other day," she said. "We won't put you down until you promise," said the guys. "I promise," said Amelia Bedelia, but then she panicked. "Where's Pyre?" Charlie pointed at a tree. Pyre was sleeping up on the trunk and barking. From a high branch, a chattering squirrel hurled nuts at Pyre's head. Amelia Bedelia and Charlie ran over and grabbed Pyre's leash. "That was cool, Amelia Bedelia," said Charlie. "It was amazing that you hung on to Pyre's leash." "Thanks." "No problem," said Amelia Bedelia. "I know," said Charlie. "Let's go to Pete's diner to celebrate. Today, you can get 2 hot fudge sundaes for the price of 1. "Great," said Amelia Bedelia. She hoped her knees would stop shaking by the time they got there. Amelia Bedelia and Charlie spent the rest of the afternoon at Pete's. Charlie told her all about Pyre and poodles. Amelia Bedelia learned that Charlie's mom was passionate about poodles, but that Pyre was Charlie's responsibility. He fed Pyre and walked Pyre and even groomed and bathed Pyre. My mom thinks I do a great job," Charlie said. "She even entered Pyre in that big dog show on Saturday night. She sure will win first prize." "You will," said Amelia Bedelia. "Pyre is amazing." But boom went a clap of thunder. It began to rain cats and dogs. Poor Pyre was outside, getting soaked. Amelia Bedelia pleaded with Pete until he let Pyre come inside. Just this once. Charlie parked Pyre under the table in their booth. "Keep him quiet and out of the way," said Pete. "I don't want anyone to step in a poodle." From under their table, Pyre let out a huge yawn. It was a long time before Amelia Bedelia and Charlie could stop giggling. Chapter 7. Dog Love. The very next day, Amelia Bedelia was riding her bike near town when she heard someone call her name. "Amelia Bedelia, over here." Diana had 10 dogs attached to one long leash. She was heading to the park, so Amelia Bedelia rode along beside her. "I'm so glad to see you," said Amelia Bedelia. "Was your blind date fun?" "It was perfect," said Diana. "His name is Eric, and he adores dogs. I've been taking all the dogs I walk to him for grooming. Just look what a wonderful job he does." Amelia Bedelia agreed that the dogs had never looked better or happier. They looked as though they felt important. Anything new with you? Asked Diana. Lots, said Amelia Bedelia. She told her all about pie year, skateboarding, and her afternoon at Pete's Diner with Charlie. What an adventure, said Diana. And a little puppy love never hurt anyone. Pie year is not a little puppy, he said. He's a big dog. When they got to the park, Amelia Bedelia begged to walk the dogs for Diana. Please, said Amelia Bedelia. I need to decide what kind I want. Thanks, said Diana, handing her the leash. These pups are pussycats, but be all art. Before Amelia Bedelia could ask how dogs could be cats, Charlie appeared with Pierre. Amelia Bedelia introduced him to Diana. Then they headed off. There were no skateboarders, but plenty of squirrels, so Charlie hung on to the Pierre, and Amelia Bedelia watched her pack like a hawk. Your dogs look great, said Charlie. Don't they, said Amelia Bedelia. Diana has them groomed. Then they walked on, but Amelia Bedelia could tell that something was bothering Charlie because he kept fidgeting. Finally, she asked, what's wrong? Are you worried about something? I am, Charlie said. I'm super nervous about the dog show on Saturday night. I want Pierre to look perfect. Hey, said Amelia Bedelia. Maybe Diana's friend Eric can groom Pierre too. Thanks, said Charlie, but my mom wants me to do it. Okay, said Amelia Bedelia. Can I help you though? Well, said Charlie, I need to give Pierre a bath on Saturday morning. It's easier with 2 people. My mom is super busy. Would you be able to help me? Sure, said Amelia Bedelia. I need to ask my parents first, but I'm sure they'll let me. I'll call you. After Charlie and Pierre headed home, Amelia Bedelia decided to give the dogs an extra long walk. She was exhausted by the time she got them back to Diana. She was way too tired to ride her bike all the way home. She called her father and asked them to come and pick her up. When her dad arrived, he put her bike in the trunk while she reclined her seat, let out an enormous yawn, and shut her eyes. You're exhausted, said her dad. Are you dog-tired or just tired of dogs? Both, she said. Today was a real drag. You didn't have fun? She said. Oh, I had fun, said Amelia Bedelia. But with 10 dogs, I was the one who got walked. They dragged me here and dragged me there. It's just a long, long drag. Amelia Bedelia's dad laughed. 10 dogs, he said. What kind were they? Amelia Bedelia counted them off. There was a Belgian sheepdog, an Irish setter, a German shepherd, a Scottish terrier, a Norwegian elkhound, an Italian hound, a Welsh corgi. What a group, said her dad. It sounds like you took most of Europe for a walk. Wait a second, said Amelia Bedelia. I forgot all about the Dane. Wow, said her father, a Great Dane. He was good, said Amelia Bedelia, but not really great. He misbehaves a lot. Diana says he eats as much as one cup. Did you have any trouble besides the dragging? Asked her dad. A little, said Amelia Bedelia. I let 2 dogs play, and I lost sight of them for a couple of minutes. Did you spot them? He asked. One was already spotted, said Amelia Bedelia. That was a Dalmatian. What was the other one? Asked her dad. A Labrador, said Amelia Bedelia. Retriever? Asked her dad. Yep, said Amelia Bedelia. I found her. Amelia Bedelia rolled down her window. She hung her head out to let the cool wind blow her hair. She liked the sound as it made as it swirled past her ears. She said. I see why dogs love to do this. Wait a second, said her dad. You're not turning into a dog, are you? Maybe you've been hanging out with them too much. Instead of that necklace you want for your birthday, might give you a flea collar instead. Oh, Daddy, said Amelia Bedelia as they drove into their driveway. When they got inside, she told her mother about her day and about Charlie and his poodle, Pierre. I adore poodles, said Amelia Bedelia's mother. Is Pierre a cute little toy poodle? Mom, said Amelia Bedelia, he is a real dog. He doesn't need batteries at all. Then Amelia Bedelia remembered to tell her parents what Charlie had said about poodles and how they got their name from puddles. Aha, said her father. That's what we call truth and jest. But what I want to know is, did Charlie laugh at my joke about studying in a poodle? A lot, said Amelia Bedelia. This Charlie kid is obviously a genius, said her dad. After that, it was easy for Amelia Bedelia to get permission to go over Charlie's house. You know what, said her dad, your mom and I would love to see the dog show too. We haven't been in years. You bet, said her mom. It's a plan. Chapter 8. 2-bit shave and a haircut. I'm going to stop right there for chapter 8. Bye. See you next time. Make sure to subscribe and the thumbs up button or the red button. Bye. See you next time for chapter